Hey guys, it's Jason with Kentucky Sustainable Living. It is Friday afternoon, right before Snowmageddon and the big cold apocalypse that we're going to get, I think, starting Sunday night, something like that. Here in Kentucky, I've looked at it a little bit. They're calling for real cold temperatures next week, especially Monday and Tuesday and Wednesday. I think a couple of those days we're not supposed to get out of about like 25 degrees, so of course, everybody's freaked out in Kentucky, and everybody has bought their milk, bread, and eggs because it seems to be a state law that everybody's going to eat French toast when it gets cold and snows. That's beyond me. I would want something besides French toast, but whatever. I saw it on Facebook that people were like, "Oh yeah, all the bread's sold out, the milk and eggs," and I'm like, "That's beyond me." So whatever. But point of this video. I thought it'd be a good time to run over some generator maintenance and stuff like that, getting your generators out. I know a lot of people put everything on a schedule. Once a month, they come out and they start all their generators, run them for a little while and go. I try to. A lot of the times I don't get to it. Sometimes it's every 2 months, sometimes it's every 3 months, and sometimes a couple of them I forget and I have to clean the carburetor out real good, which kind of sucks. But I've got some notes. I've got some stuff like that. I've got 3 of my generators. I've got more than 3, but I pulled 3 out to kind of mess with, make sure they're working. Kind of go over some stuff, show you the different generators and stuff like that. So we'll start with the smallest one, and then we'll kind of work our way up. The one behind me, this is a Sportsman. I think Cabela sells these. I bought this from a lady on Facebook Marketplace for about half price. It was still in the box, and I got it for about half price. So, hey, I'm not going to fuss about that. But let me grab, I've got some notes just so I wouldn't forget some of the stuff. Like I said, with your generators and stuff, with the ethanol fuels, first off, I run all non-ethanol fuel in my generators, and I run it in all my small equipment, four-wheelers, golf cart, all that kind of stuff. It's just, it does so much better with non-ethanol fuel. Yes, you've got to spend some more money on it, but it's well worth it. This generator here had been sitting, honestly, I let one of my buddies borrow it, and I went and picked it up today. It was sitting in his barn. It had been sitting in his barn for 6 months. So hopefully it's going to start. But I mean, I've let them set up to 6 months and everything starts fine with the non-ethanol fuel. But the best thing, run your generators once a month for about 15 to 20 minutes. And one of the important things is run it with some kind of load on it. Put a load on it. It doesn't have to max it out. Put something that will run continuous and run some kind of load on your generator just to make sure everything's working with it. Because I've seen a lot of people before, they're like, "Oh yeah, the generator fired up great," and they go to plug something in and something's wrong with the actual generator part that makes the power. So go ahead and run that, make sure it works. Getting the engine to start and run is only half the battle. You've got to make sure the other part of the generator is going to run too. Like I said, I run mine with all non-ethanol fuel. Typically what I do before I start one, you're going to check your fuel level right up here. I've already checked the fuel level on this. It's got about half a tank of fuel from my buddy, and he runs all non-ethanol fuel in his too. He's got a fishing boat and runs all non-ethanol fuel. But what I'll do is come through, we'll check the spark plugs, a few things. We'll check the spark plug on it, check the oil, check the filter, the air filter. Let me grab some paper towels and we'll check the oil real quick. Get in here. The oil fill on this one is right here. And this is simple. This is just like checking the oil in your car. You want to pull it out, wipe it off, because if it's been moved around or something like that, it could give you an inaccurate reading. And a lot of these generators now, they have a low fuel or a low oil shut off, and they just will not start. So that's one thing to check. is if you know everything's good with your generator and it won't start, check the oil in it and make sure it's got enough oil in it. Yeah. I don't know how well that comes up, but there's plenty of oil in this. So we're good to go with that part. So we know we got plenty of oil in this. Get this screwed back in. God, that thing's giving me fits. All right, we got that screwed back in. Now we'll spin it around. We'll pull the spark plug, see what the spark plug looks like on this. This generator, when I bought it from that lady, we put fuel in it, ran it for just a little bit, didn't do anything with it. So it essentially had probably like an hour on it when I let my buddy borrow it. And he ran it, I think, probably 10, maybe 15 hours. So this thing has got less than 20 hours on it. So I don't anticipate the spark plug anything wrong with it. But we'll spin it around. Spin it around. Here's your spark plug wrench. Oh. And that's the wrong size spark plug wrench. We'll be back. All right, full transparency. I do not have a spark plug wrench that will fit there, a spark plug socket that'll fit it. Kind of sucks. So there you go. That's something you've learned right now with me. I don't have every socket that is imaginable. I've got the right size, but just not in a deep well that'll fit over the spark plug. So I won't put that on the list, that I'll pick up a socket tomorrow. So there, I'm going to show you the faults and everything with this. But that being said, here is, we'll check something that we don't need a socket for, your air filter. Air filter's clean, no problems with it. Slide it back in. Sometimes these things are a pain in the butt, honestly. There. Take, lock it back down. Now, right here is your fuel shut off. On this, if it's up and down, it's on. If it is perpendicular, it is off. So here's where you start the generator. On starting these generators, this particular generator here has got an on switch. It's a pull start, but this switch has to be on to start the generator. We'll turn the switch on. Your choke will be in a closed position, and then you just pull the generator to start it. So let's see if this one will fire up. It's on. Fuel is on. Sorry, that probably got just a little loud, but when I plugged that router in, I had the router sitting there just close where I could plug it in and see. But you see that generator's been setting for several months. Made sure everything's ready to go. Fresh fuel in it, fired up first pull. No starting fluid, no nothing like that. But we'll kind of go over, a lot of people like when they shut the generators off. I didn't do it this time because we might need it with the severe weather we've got coming in. A lot of the times, the guys will run their generator and then they'll come in and they'll turn the fuel off and let the generator run all the fuel out of the carburetor, and then that keeps the carburetor a little bit cleaner to where it won't gum up. I've seen a lot of guys do that. Typically, I don't do it because I try to run mine as much as we can and keep them going. But this one, let me see what else I wanted to cover. All right, some of the stuff that I keep on hand extra for the generators, and one thing I'm adding is a spark plug wrench that will fit, because this is the same spark plug as one of my other big generators. So I'm going to go get a spark plug wrench tomorrow at the hardware store when they open up. But some of the stuff I like to keep on hand extra, I always try to keep a lot of extra oil on these. This one takes 1030. My other bigger one takes 1030 that's behind us. Keep extra oil, keep extra spark plugs on hand for each generator. Each generator is probably going to take a different spark plug. So if you have multiple generators, get extra spark plugs for each generator. Starting fluid is another one that you probably need to keep on hand just in case. I always keep starting fluid around. Keep some carb cleaner too. And get the little needles that you can clean the jets out if you have to clean the carburetors out. That's something awesome to have, that and carb cleaner. Funnels are awesome to have. I've yet to find a good gas can that does not help to have a funnel with. So keep a bunch of funnels on hand. I've got tons of funnels sitting around. It just helps you from getting gas everywhere. Keep your owner's manual. The owner's manual, all the owner's manuals for my generators are down here in the shop in my office. I've got a military diesel generator I'm going to show you in a minute. I went online and found the owner's manual for it from the military, and literally I printed it out, and it takes up 2 4-inch binders, but it has everything, every part number, every diagram, how to disassemble that whole generator and put it back together in there. And I'm like, that is a super valuable resource. We printed it out, punched the holes in it, and put it in 2 4-inch binders, and it's amazing to have. Another thing, probably need to keep extension cords and some 3-ways in there. Extension cords, you're going to have extension cords to run stuff in your house unless you have a transfer switch, but that's kind of off topic on this. I've got a transfer switch on my house, a manual one that I put in when I built it, so I can plug just one massive cord in and it back feeds into my panel. But that's some stuff you got on hand. That's typically what I go through when we go through and start our generators. And now we'll kind of segue and talk about some different generators. This is a small Sportsman, like I said, that you can get at Cabela's. Most of these generator companies are going to sell just the surge watts. So when you see that, they're like 4,000 surge watts. Your surge watts is what it'll handle just for a few seconds, starting up and stuff like that. But you really want to look at your running watts or continuous watts. This is rated at 4,000 surge watts. So when a piece of equipment starts up, it will handle 4,000 watts with that motor starting up. But it will not do it continuously. It will do 3,500 watts continuously. A lot of the nicer generators, they've got a display switch here. You've got your circuit reset, your circuit breakers. This particular one has a DC battery where you can charge a DC battery. I've got the little plugs. You can plug that in there and then charge a 12-volt battery. It's got alligator clips on it, which is super handy for a lot of stuff. Like if you've got solar batteries and you need to charge some of your deep cycle batteries, you could charge those without having to run it through a battery charger. This particular one has 4 120-volt plugs. Those, I think, are 15 or 20 amp is what those are. I'm not 100% sure. All right. And then you've got a 25 amp, 120 volt plug. That's kind of like your RV plug, but it's still just 120 volts. This is a dual fuel, so it will run on gasoline or it will run on LP, liquid propane. I've got the hookup kit and everything. You just got, you put it over to the side and it's got your hose for your propane tank. But propane, this is one thing that some people might not know. Propane will give you less energy per pound or per gallon, however you want to break it up. But propane produces less energy. So you get more energy off running gasoline. Propane will store forever as long as it doesn't leak out of the container. But this is set up on dual fuel. Let's run over here. I've got two other generators that I can show you. This is essentially, by the numbers, this is the smallest one that I've got. I've got another big gasoline one, and then I've got a military diesel generator. Let me spin everything around and we'll show you those. All right, great production quality. If I had something to set this up on where I could stand up, I would. This is a Champion brand. I got this at Tractor Supply a couple years ago. It's only got maybe 10 hours, if that, on it. It is a straight gasoline one. It's rated, your starting watts on it are 7,500 starting watts and 6,000 continuous. So it will do a whole lot. It's all the same, essentially, as the smaller generator, just a bigger package. But it will also do more stuff. It's got, this one is a 25. This one's a 25 amp, 120 or 240 volt. The smaller one up there only does 120 volts. This one will do 220 volts, and it's got 4 120 volt plugs on it they're GFI plugs. I like it. It's got nice cover on it, and those are 20 amp, 120 volt plugs. This one is a 120 240, and it is a 25 amp or a 50 amp. If you're running, let me grab my cord for it. This is my extension cord that I've got that I can plug in to my transfer switch on the house. It's a twist lock plug. I've got about 25 or 30 feet. And then on the other end of the house, on the transfer switch, I can pull the cover up and I can plug this in there, and it will backfeed the panel into the house. And then I've got emergency circuits all throughout the house that are labeled and everything. But that is that generator. This generator has got a digital readout on it. It's a little bit fancier, but it's got the digital readout. It'll show you the hertz of the voltage coming through. It'll show you how many amps you're pulling and the voltage on there, which is super nice. But all in all, this generator is identical to the other one, except for a lot bigger package. Now we'll move on. Personally, this is my favorite generator that I've got. This is, I forgot the model number, but this is a military diesel generator. It's a single cylinder Ona diesel generator. I call it Old Smoky. This thing set for close to a year before I used it. I pulled it out, third start, the thing fired up and it smoked like an absolute freight train for about 5 minutes till it got warm, and then it just purrs like a kitten. It's diesel fuel, awesome generator. These generators, I think this one is rated at 3,000 or 3,500 watts, but everything I've read online is it will do close to twice that. It's awesome. It'll probably start up first or second pull if I really wanted to. I want to do it here in a minute and just show you how this thing runs. awesome thing. The nice thing about this generator in the specs, I think it's 75% load at pulling 75% of what it can do. It only drinks 1/3 of a gallon an hour. So in 3 hours, you only go through a gallon of diesel fuel with this thing, which is super nice. It's very energy efficient. This one, you can see, now this one only has 2 120 volt plugs on it. It's got the display over here that we can open up. And the nice thing, it's got analytical gauges. It shows you your voltage. And the nice thing is it shows you the load percentage that you've got. So you can see how close you are to pegging this out. And then it's got the hertz on it. It's got a voltage adjustment where you can adjust your voltage. And those are your fuses right there. It's also got an hour meter on it, and that has 6.3 hours on it. So honestly, essentially, this thing is pretty much brand new. But it's a little bit more complicated to start up than your other generators, just because it doesn't have a whole lot of instructions with it. So, but I guess we'll take this thing. I'll reset everything up. I've already checked the oil in it, made sure there's diesel fuel in it. So we'll start this joker up and show you how it works. All right, this is your air intake. It's got a, whether you're gonna start it cold or start it normal. It's warm enough right now. We can start it on the normal setting. Here's your fuel bowl, your fuel tank. So what we've got to do, I don't know what all these levers do. I could look in the manual, but I looked in the manual and figured out how to start it, and I just kind of went from that and kind of wing it, honestly. But it's got a lever down here you push, pull this down. That right there is to kill it. So with this pushed over, it will start. So let's see if this thing fires up. It's been easily 6 months since I've started this thing. So we're gonna see what it'll do. First pull hadn't been started in probably 6 months. And I'm surprised it's not smoked me out of the shop yet. Guys, there you go. That's the military diesel generator. I think that's their smallest diesel generator that they make. I would love to have the next step up, and I'm just super stoked that I've got this one. Let me readjust the camera and we'll kind of put a bow on this. All right, guys, it is almost dark here. I've got a little bit more time. I'm gonna go ahead and start these things, run them under load, make sure everything's fine, and do all that. But guys, I hope you've enjoyed the video. This is what I do before we get any kind of winter storms with our generators. And like I said, I try to start them once a month also. Sometimes I slack on that, and I'll be honest, I suck at it sometimes. But all three, we know this one will start. We know Old Smoky will start. So I'm gonna pull this bigger one out here in a few minutes when I get done with this, let it run, and I'll let all three of these run under some kind of load and make sure everything's fine with it. But guys, I appreciate you watching. If you like this kind of stuff, like and subscribe. Leave a comment on what kind of generator you've got or which would be your favorite out of these three. Little Green, Big Yellow, or Old Smoky. I've already told you my favorite. Guys, y'all have a nice day, a nice weekend, and stay safe with all the cold temperatures coming.